Any second now. Excellent. Awesome. So we are live now on Meet and YouTube. Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. Happy Sunday. My name is Aryaman Veer. I'm a volunteer with the iSpirit Foundation, and I'm one of the organizers of this Healthathon 2020. Welcome to the closing ceremony and award ceremony of this event. Many of you here have been participants in this, and so you know all about it, but I'd like to just give a brief introduction to those of you who are new or who don't know what this is about. So since October 24th, almost 800 people have come together to participate in this Healthathon, which is an event designed to drive awareness, education, and engagement around the national health stack, and in particular, this technology called the Personal Health Records Framework. So India is basically rolling out a very ambitious piece of public digital infrastructure for healthcare known as the National Health Stack. Under the able leadership of the Ministry of Health and Family Wellness and the National Health Authority and something known as the National Digital Health Mission, one of the components of this health stack is coming to market imminently, known as the Personal Health Records Framework. What this technology does is it allows health data to be interoperable between different care providers and software systems, all with patient consent. This means that health data will arrive where it needs to go, when it needs to go there, when the patient wants it to. So this can be really huge. We are really excited to see what can come out of this. And this is the very first time that anybody's actually gotten widespread access to these APIs or certainly organized a hackathon around this. So we are really excited. And we're really grateful that people came together to take part in this and to learn about the PHR system. So we ran 2 competitions as part of this event. There was an Ideathon in which teams competed to come up with business ideas and product strategies, and a hackathon in which teams built upon the actual APIs. So we have some winners from both competitions, which we'll announce in a short while. But I'd like to just say thank you to all the teams. We had 45 submissions across both competitions, and they were very, very high quality submissions. I encourage all of you to go and check them out later. I'll post a link in the comment section. Some of the submissions weren't eligible for prizes, unfortunately, because they either were submitted after the deadline or they didn't meet some of the criteria for prizes. But nonetheless, they were fantastic, and some really interesting, unique ideas have come out of this. So thank you once again to all the teams, and you've all done a really fantastic job, done us all very proud. So before we get to the final, the winners, and I show you their videos, I'd like to just sort of talk a little bit about the numbers at a glance from this event. So I'm proud to say that we had 836 applicants for the Healthathon, 500 participants in Slack, which was a very active community, 30% of whom were women. So that was really nice because it's higher than the average, I would say. Sadly, it's higher than the average sort of gender participation ratio in certainly health tech events. We had 88 teams from all over India who eventually came up with 45 submissions, 20 in the hackathon and 25 in the Ideathon. We had 14 master classes. So in addition to the 2 events, every weekend we've had some programming where somebody will come and speak and kind of share their thoughts around health tech and medicine in general. So the keynote speaker for this event on 24th October was Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw. We also had a couple of, she had a wonderful talk about, why she's excited about this whole ecosystem that's burgeoning in the national health stack and what advice she would have for sort of health tech entrepreneurs. We had masterclasses talking about NDHM, how it works, a deep dive into various technical aspects of it. We had a session talking about what founders and investors can learn from their peers in health tech. Talks about wearables, IoT, the role of personalized data, insurance, emergency care, and a host of other talks. All of those talks are actually available on our YouTube channel, the iSpirit YouTube channel, so I'll post a link to that as well. We had 2.2K views on YouTube alone and several more on AirMeet, so very happy with the sort of participation and engagement there. And of course, we have 7 prizes. So 7 teams across the Hackathon and Ideathon have been awarded prizes by our judges, and we'll be coming to that in a second. So here are the actual judges. Let me just share my screen with you, and you can see the judges who did the scoring. So the rubrics were shared with all of the... Are you able to see my screen, by the way? Just put some thumbs up if you can. Okay, it looks like people can see my screen. So these are the judges. We had Sohit Kapoor and Harsh Parekh from Briefcase, Dr. Manjari Bakre from OncoStem, Rahul Arora from Matrix, Dhruv from iClinic, Dr. Rekha Goswami, who is an internal medicine expert, Vasudha from Elevation Capital, and Jayashree from Enzia VC. So a really great mix of healthcare practitioners, health tech entrepreneurs, and health tech investors. So they judged all of these presentations, and they decided which ones they felt were worthy of prizes. So we actually have feedback from all the judges for each and every single team. So if you submitted something in this competition, we will share feedback from the judges on your project with you later. But for the time being, we're just going to show the winning prizes, or the winning submissions rather. But before we get there, I'd like to just acknowledge all the people who kind of made this event possible. This was a real team effort, and we had an incredible support system of people who came together to make this happen. So our partners in this, the principal sponsors were Matrix Partners India, one of the leading venture capital funds in the country, and the Swasth Alliance. We had as knowledge partners HIMSS India chapter and Chime. You heard from some of the participants and members of Chime in a talk that we had about a CIO's perspective on how tech has been evolving in hospitals. HIMSS is a sort of industry body of health information management software systems. Our organization partners, without whom we could not have done this at all, are DevFolio, who are amazing, and AirMeet, whose platform many of you are watching this on right now. And our dev support partners were Live Health and Finarkin Analytics. So all of these people made this event possible. Without them, this would not have happened. And can we please get some virtual love for all of these folks? In particular, for everyone who's on the Slack channel giving support 24/7 from Live Health, DevFolio, and Finarkin. You guys have been great. And to all the participants out here, I know that things maybe at times weren't super smooth in terms of certain APIs breaking, things not being stable. The truth is that this is an evolving ecosystem. This is the real world. This is a very ambitious project which we're trying to put together. And sometimes there are teething problems, there are issues, but you guys are actually living through the birth of something really grand. And I hope that you all really enjoyed this experience and learned from it. We are certainly very grateful for your participation. So before we come to the final presentations, I'd like to please invite Rajat Agarwal from Matrix India to come and say a few words. As one of our principal sponsors, they've given us an incredible amount of support all throughout this event, and they really have contributed immensely. So Rajat, if you could please click the raise hand button on the right side panel, I'll be able to bring you up on stage. Hi, Rajat.
Hi, can you hear me? Let me switch on my video.
Yes, we can.
Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here as always. Hopefully, I won't take too much of your time and we can head to the presentations pretty quickly. So at the outset, I would like to thank all the participants, iSpirit team, and our co-sponsors for taking the time and working hard towards making this hackathon a success, pretty good success. It's very heartening to see the interest levels, like the numbers that Ariman was telling me are just mind-boggling. There's so much interest in the topic and sector. It's very heartening to see that. Hackathons such as these are just aimed at spawning entrepreneurship in the sector and discover innovative ideas. And having seen some of the ideas that have come up, I can very confidently say that there are very interesting times ahead of all of us who are looking to work in the healthcare industry. Next, I would like to thank all the judges and panelists. There are a bunch of industry stalwarts who joined us through the last 4 to 6 weeks, and all on weekends. So really thankful for them taking time and talking to the participants. I'm sure it was very well received, and all the participants, especially me, would love to continue the engagement offline as well. Final thought that I would leave all the participants with is that we at Matrix India are very firm believers that this is still early. There are still early days for health tech innovation in India, and there's a lot that can be done over the following years. And the National Health Stack (NDHM) is just a start to this. The opportunity is large, but obviously healthcare is never easy. But again, having seen the energy of the group, I'm sure there'll be some very interesting companies that will come out of this. As some of your projects mature, we would love to figure out how to work with you. We often even do pre-seed investments, pre-product investments. So please don't hesitate to reach out. It's been a pleasure and would love to do more. Thank you. Ariman, back to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rajat. Guys, please a big round of applause for Rajat and the Matrix team. They've been phenomenal through all of this. Likewise, somebody that I forgot to acknowledge is NHA, so the National Health Authority. Folks like Kiran Anandam Pillai, Anshuman Sarkar, Sukrit, and Prashant, many which you guys interacted with in the Slack channel, have also been sort of pivotal to this whole undertaking and provided access to the sandbox, helped with troubleshooting, gave response on the dev forum. So big kudos to them. And I'd also like to invite now Dr. Ajay Nair, who's the CEO of the Swast Alliance, to please come and say a few words as a representative of Swast, one of the principal sponsors. So let me just bring him on right now. Welcome, Dr. Ajay. How are you?
Very well, Arvind. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Can't see you yet. Now we can see you. Super.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. And I just want to quickly congratulate everybody who's here, who spent the last month building solutions. And regardless of whether you won or not, I think just going through this process of ideating and creating the product and creating the pitch is a first step. I really hope many of you can go on and deliver these solutions on the ground. As Rajat and Nariman had mentioned, this is quite an exciting time in India in health tech, because what we have is the basic architecture for what will hopefully eventually become one of the largest health information exchanges in the world. And we really have an opportunity here to leverage technology to leapfrog some of the deficits we have in the health system in India. And I'm quite excited to see who's won, but I'm also excited to go through the rest of the product set presentations, which I will do. And congratulations and thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you. You put it extremely well. We have a huge opportunity here. The mind kind of boggles when it thinks about the possibilities that can be unlocked by this technology. So I think everybody will appreciate seeing the creativity of the participants. As I said, all 45 submissions were great in my point of view. Like, I'm really proud of every single team. And although we'll be announcing some winners now, in my eyes, everybody is a winner here. Like, everybody learned a lot. I hope you guys had fun. I hope you guys met interesting people and created some connections that will outlast this hackathon or Ideathon in this case. Because I mean, for us, it was a pleasure to put on. So I'm going to announce the teams, and I'm going to play the videos that were submitted by the teams. And please just keep like a stream of applause going. When sort of we announce the initial the team name. So I'm going to start with the Ideathon teams. So one of the teams to win the Ideathon was Sanjivani. So congratulations to Team Sanjivani. Here is the video. Can you guys see the video? Just put some thumbs up if you can.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Smriti Chaudhary and I'm going to talk about Sanjeevani, our solution for Bharat using the NDHM digital health architecture. As I begin, I would like to thank the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, National Health Authority, iSpirit team, and the mentors and subject matter experts who have been with us for the last few weeks, making this into an exciting journey. During my presentation, I'm going to talk about some India-specific challenges, opportunities, and solutions, and the user context in personal medical data. When talking about challenges, I would like to start with the trials. India, representing 18% of the world population, conducts only 1.5% of global clinical research. Despite having talent and available workforce, we fall behind due to lack of digital infrastructure and technology. The post-COVID scenario has created a significant challenge with respect to access to people and patients to conduct clinical trials, medical research, and data collection. This directly impacts development of healthcare solutions. As per industry reports, life insurance penetration is a mere 2.9% of the GDP in India. This means at least 988 million Indians, that is 75% of all Indians, are not covered by any form of health insurance. When the regulator continues to make efforts towards driving higher penetration across the sector, we also need to come up with better solutions and business models to make medical facilities available to the larger population beyond the metros and tier cities. With Sanjeevani, we introduce India's first digital CRO leveraging the PHR framework for Atmanirbhar Bharat. We introduce the concept of health score leveraging the PHR framework. India demographics, and personal medical history to provide alternative personalized healthcare solutions for Bharat. The demographics data is pulled from data.gov.in medical data repository. We also understand that user engagement and adoption of a new tool or app in a digital world is challenging. Sanjeevani uses gamification and goal-based engagement to drive user adoption. Let me take you through our app to explain this further. I can log to the app and view my dashboard. In the medical research section, I can see several trials which are posted by medical, academic, pharma, and FMCG companies. Let us look at this one related to COVID. I can go through the details and I can also see that I'm eligible for this trial. Sanjeevani has used my personal health data to intelligently match against the trial eligibility criteria. Let us look at the next one. In this situation, I can see that I'm not eligible for this trial program and hence the apply button is automatically disabled. With this setup, even FMCG companies are onboarded as HRU and they can post product trial requisitions and collect valuable data. Sanjeevani with PHR framework now makes it possible to confidently conduct clinical trials at scale, and the medical data can be collected across any PHR-enabled lab or hospital, and the user provides consent for this data to be sent to the requesting organization. I would now like to talk about how Sanjeevani is leveraging the PHR and using the personal medical data to provide affordable medical cover with monthly subscriptions. This is different from traditional insurance plans. There are various plans with health score eligibility requirements. As I can see, the mini plan has a higher score requirement, so I can select the next suitable plan. As plans are on a month-to-month basis, I can switch between different plans as my health score improves over time. Sanjeevani uses machine learning to evaluate the risk and price the healthcare plan accordingly. For the final part of my presentation, I would like to talk about the user contacts and how Sanjeevani uses gamification to drive higher engagement with the app, leverage PHR framework and personal medical data to create a health score for every individual like a Sybil. The score is calculated using demographic data and personal medical data available through the PHR framework. My digital health ID is generated during the onboarding process. I'm part of the family and friends group with my own unique health score rankings. To summarize, Sanjeevani is designed from the ground up to leverage the PHR framework. To provide a complete solution, it provides a health locker for all medical data and future integrations with fitness trackers and an AI-based consultation engine. I thank you for your attention and please visit our website for a first-hand experience of Sanjeevani application.
Super. So congratulations, Team Sanjeevani. I forgot to mention that winners in the Ideathon competition received 30,000 rupees as a prize. So congratulations to Team Sanjeevani, Saurav and Smriti. Next up, we have Team Bima Pay with their solution Port. Congratulations to Team Bima Pay. And I see some of the judges have joined us in the audience. Thank you once again, judges. You know, your work through the last 24 hours was really important, and we really appreciate it. So here is the next selection chosen by the judges, Port by Bima Pay. Can everybody see?
Hi, this is Bima Pay's submission for
Okay, great.
the Ideathon. It's a product called Port with Bima Pay. The high-level concept is mobile number portability brought to health insurance. To give you some context, the retail health insurance market in India is large. It generates $2.3 billion of premiums a year. It's growing about 18% year on year. The number of lives insured are about 42 million, and that's growing 14.7% year on year. The go-to-market for Port with Bima Pay would be both direct-to-consumer and potentially as a SaaS offering in a B2B context. On the direct-to-consumer side, we'd make it available to Bima Pay members, so consumers who we have acquired for our additional products. And on the SaaS side, for any direct-to-consumer fintech or any bank looking to help their customers port their health insurance. The reason behind us building a portability solution for health insurance today is regulation is actually enabling portability. A precursor to automating the portability workflows is to have standard definitions for different exclusions and different benefits under health insurance, which are in place effective October of this year via the IRDA standardization of health insurance regulation. In addition to that, at the start of this year, the IRDA came out with a set of guidelines on portability, which almost acted as encouragement to insurance companies to permit portability of health insurance. So coming to the point of workflow automation now being possible, given the standardization of exclusion and benefits under the IRDA guidelines, it's now possible to work on a policy markup language, which is being done at the Swasth Alliance, and Bima Pay is a part of the PML working group. In addition to that, portability actually requires the new insurance company to have a set of medical records about the proposer, the individual who wishes to port their insurance companies. And this is where the PHR APIs, which are currently made available to us, are actually the linchpin to the Port with Bima Pay solution. Currently, you could get access to information about claims via an IRDA provided service called the Insurance Information Bureau. Potentially in the future, we could support our carrier partners using the health claims platform. So today, portability is a very broken process. It takes a minimum of 20 hours and in our personal experience, upwards of 40 hours if you'd like to generate a number of quotes. The reason for this is you need to call up an agent or an underwriter at each insurance company separately, explain your case, share your medical document paperwork, share your previous insurance details, and then they will think about whether they should give you a quote or not. With using Port with Bima Pay, we would be able to cut out a lot of these manual workflows, such as aggregating your insurance documents, which we would pull from your policy wallet, which is a Bima Pay product. We would use a consent-led flow for collecting your insurance details and also for collecting your medical details, and that would be powered by the PHR APIs. And then the entire process would just rely on a couple of clicks on your phone. So it's almost like the magic of mobile number portability brought to you for health insurance. On the consumer side, the primary job to be done is really answering, should I port my health insurance? And if so, which insurance company should I port to? And this is where Bima Pay has an in-house policy deconstruction algorithm, which has ingested about 2,000 life and health insurance policies in India, which allow us to power a personalized recommendation. But the recommendation cannot be personalized until we know what your current health status is, because that would determine a variety of quotes that would be provided by different insurance companies. And this is where the PHR API comes in as a linchpin to the Port with Bima Pay solution. The obvious point is consumers desire control over their insurance. We verify this via our primary research. And this is where the PHR API's consent-led flows give the customer a sense that they are in control of their data. On the insurance company side, we've spoken with about 10 underwriters. The problem there with portability is not an unwillingness to port, but it's a fear that the porting exercise involves a lot of manual workload, which is not worth their time and investment. And this is where almost our workflow automation solution, Port with Bima Pay for insurance companies, would ensure that all of the data, whether it's the medical records, the consumer's current insurance details, is made available to them in the format that they require, along with the portability form. Finally, execution of portability has a certain number of steps, and we believe with the NHS PHR APIs, we'd be able to meet all of the steps required for portability in a tech and product first manner. Finally, we'd just like to close by highlighting that portability goes beyond just transferring credits for waiting periods, cooling off periods, but in the future would also include portability of wellness benefits as per the IRDA guidelines. And to close, portability is not a zero-sum game. So yes, some insurance companies may lose customers, but they also stand to gain customers. And at the end of it, it's the consumer who wins, just as the case with the mobile number portability.
Okay, awesome. That was Team Bima Pay. Congratulations. I'm not sure why the audio cut out at the end there, but congratulations to you, Team Bima Pay. Well done. Very interesting solution. Next up in the Ideathon, we had Team Phoenix. I'll be playing their video now. Congratulations, Team Phoenix. Here we go.
Hi, this is Team Phoenix. We are a team of two. My name is Aruna Maurya and my teammate is Srividya. A little about us. I am a computer science graduate working as a software development engineer at Philips. Srividya is a research scholar in the Department of Management Studies at IIT Madras with a work experience of 10 plus years in health tech and other roles. Before we dive into the problem, I'd like to shed some light on two terms that are going to come up in the presentation quite often. The first one is NCD, or more commonly known as non-communicable diseases, is a blanket term used to refer to diseases like diabetes, cancer, neurological diseases like paralysis, multiple sclerosis, etc. The second term is a rather uncommon idea. Post-treatment care refers to a care plan given to a patient after their major treatment is over to ensure a complete and healthy recovery. Now, when we look at the stats of India for the year 2016, we see that 1 in every 4 Indians die of NCDs, which account for about 63% of all deaths. This figure is quite an eye-opener, and we asked ourselves, where did we go wrong? Among the many reasons that came up, we narrowed down to one. That is, healthcare in India is overburdened, primarily because A. Lack of preventive healthcare systems, and B. The massive inflow of relapse cases in hospitals. Having identified the cause, we thought to ourselves, what if there was a system that could provide personalized post-treatment care plans to patients to ensure a complete healthy recovery? And Phoenix does just that. Phoenix is a digital platform that connects users to a team of doctors who not only design a custom healthcare plan but also allow continuous monitoring and enables patient-to-patient interaction. Let's have a glance at a detailed workflow of Phoenix. When a user enrolls him or herself in the Phoenix program, they are met with a consultant doctor who is responsible for mapping a team of doctors by analyzing the patient's medical history obtained from their PHR. The team of doctors for a patient who has had a heart surgery might include a dietitian, a specialist doctor, and a psychiatrist. This team would differ as per need basis of the patient. The team is responsible for designing a complete care plan for the patient and making sure that he or she has a complete and healthy recovery. Let's now watch a user story to outline how Phoenix would benefit a patient. Mrs. Radha is a 60-year-old woman and lives alone in a small town of Palampur. She has recently undergone an angioplasty operation to restore blood flow in her arteries. She is required to visit the nearby hospital once in 6 months for regular checkups and blood tests. She is scared and anxious of who will take her to the hospital if she were to have a heart attack. As she is waiting for her token to be called, she notices her neighbor Mr. Sharma, who is also a heart patient, busy doing something on the phone. She becomes curious and asks him. He responds by saying that he is updating his Phoenix tracker. He further explains that his doctor had suggested he get in touch with the Phoenix team to get a care plan. Seeing her confused, Mr. Sharma talks about how, through this plan, he gets the benefits of consulting doctors across allied healthcare systems like allopathy, homeopathy, etc. Mrs. Radha is still a little unconvinced as to why would it make sense to enroll for this kind of a service. Mr. Sharma senses her worries and shares that the best part is that this plan is personalized based on his medical history. He tells her how he used to be always worried and anxious, but now he feels in control and happy. How Phoenix would touch lives of users and make their quality of life better. Having said that, it is only fair to ask, what is it that makes Phoenix unique? Well, for starters, it provides personalized post-treatment care plans based on a user's medical history. It allows the users to choose from the various allied healthcare services like Ayurveda, homeopathy, etc. That too, all at one place. It removes the hassles of a user having to manage 3 different accounts on 3 different platforms to keep a check on his vitals. Now, let's get into the business side of things. Our customer base would include patients, hospitals, and insurance buyers. While patients would be our direct target, tie-ups with hospitals would ensure reduced inflow of relapse cases. Similarly, insurance firms would also be interested in reducing their payouts and hence would broaden our customer base by encouraging them to adopt this plan. Hospitals would also prove to be an important point of contact for awareness and reaching out to potential new customers. Medical covers through corporate firm is another method to ensure that people are aware of the platform that offers them these services for their loved ones. Phoenix would also provide, among other features, a free membership and premium insights into the data shared by users with their consent. Having said that, building Phoenix is going to come up with its own set of highs and lows. While Phoenix would tap into the unexplored ecosystem of allied healthcare and act as a bridge to connect caregivers with patients, data security and compliance would still be a roadblock that would need to be deliberated upon. There also have to be systems in place for the validation of doctors and medical staff from Ayush. Building Phoenix is not going to be easy, but it definitely is worth a shot given the problems it might solve. Thank you.
Awesome. Congratulations, Team Phoenix. Well done. We have now the last winner from the Ideathon category before we move on to the Hackathon winners, which is Team Max Health. So congratulations, Teams Max Health. I'm going to play the video right now.
Hello, my name is Shiva and I represent Team Max Health, and here we would like to present a use case for the Ideathon. In this use case, we would like to talk about the unsung heroes in our life before COVID, during COVID, and definitely after COVID. These are the people we are talking about: our daily help, people who work as security guards, housekeeping staff in our offices as well as homes, window cleaners, drivers, and many more, who have a major medical issue in terms of emergency, but they don't know who to reach out to. And the problem we feel that large insurance players are not able to reach out to this set of community is because discovering them, getting access to them, and really acquiring them onto the platform is very expensive and high today. At the same time, there's not enough data points to look at how to price an insurance premium for them. And most of the KYC documents and the documents of the individual are all physical in nature. So we believe these are the three major issues for any insurer to acquire these customers. And we all are looking for new opportunities every day. Now, sadly, these people have income about 10,000 rupees, so they're not covered under the Ayushman Bharat scheme as well. Now, let's look at a typical use case of a domestic help like Kamala, who has medical emergencies but does not have access to any formal private healthcare insurance. She does not have any documentary evidence of her income, so to speak, which becomes very difficult for an insurance provider to underwrite. Now, looking at this particular use case, we felt a very simple solution can provide Kamala the access she really needs. What we have designed is a platform where a consumer of service and a provider of service can both come together in a formal blockchain contract. And this contract would have all the documentational evidence, the payments, terms and conditions, and the nature of service the provider would give to the consumer. And that data point we can leverage as a file and provide it on a real-time basis to an insurance company to underwrite these people and provide really a very, very good premium for them. Now, once that is in place, all the physical health records can be automated and used by the NDHM stack for it to be portable whenever these people need medical emergency. Now, let's say they get to a hospital for any medical emergency, they can now get the admission in near real time. At the same time, once the treatment is done, they can process the claims as well digitally. The business model we were looking at is very, very simple. We don't want it to complicate it too much. We want our customer acquisition cost to be really low, provide them an overwhelming response on a mobile phone platform where they can really, with high touch, visibility, get access to these policies, at the same time make their medical records available digitally. And with the leveraging the NDHM stack, where we already have sandbox access to, I think we can really build this solution together. One most important thing is education and awareness about all the programs the government runs or otherwise. And we would believe Max Health as a platform would provide that awareness and education on a consistent basis. We have looked at all the stakeholders in the ecosystem, the patients, the providers, and the payers. And we looked at how the platform can really help all of them to achieve this goal, where the key is leveraging technology and having data portability and transparency between all the players. As a mobile application, we would engage with the customers, we would make sure that they get regular updates. And as a hospital and an insurance provider, we will make sure they get key data metrics at the right time so that they can all service the customer the way they would expect to service. I'm just showing you a few screenshots of how the app would look. The onboarding process would be very simple. Multiple language options would be given. And once the onboarding is done digitally, and this is complete digital onboarding, right? So the entire KYC is done digitally, and we basically enable the user to then sign a contract. Now, this is a digital contract which is signed between the consumer and the provider. Provider being the person, the worker, the consumer being the one who's receiving that particular service. Now, we've spoken to industry players like Paytm, where they said once the contract is in place, if these workers do not have any bank accounts, they're happy to set up a bank account in near real time through video KYC. Now, once the bank accounts are set up or we use their existing bank accounts, then we can get an insurance policy in place for them. The premium would be paid through the payment of services of the blockchain contract. We would monitor that and we know exactly what would be paid every month to these accounts. And the premium can be deducted digitally from the worker's account directly to the insurance company. In case the patient needs any hospitalization, we would provide them geo-fenced area of a network of hospitals, and they can really look it up and then search for one of the hospitals and select the hospital and directly go through the admission process. Now here again, we have spoken to insurance providers like Max Bupa and Coco and others, where they said if you can bring this new set of community into the system, they're really able to underwrite it much better digitally and provide a very, very good price because now they have access to the entire onboarding and visibility of the person as well as their health records, when they go through the diagnostic processes. From a technology standpoint, our integration partners are AWS from an API data warehouse, so to speak, and Google are our partners for the front-end application itself. In terms of revenue model, the insurance companies would be our customer. And even if you look at less than 1% of the market share, there's more than enough for us to all build this new community of citizens together who are willing to pay that premium. And to give you an example, for a 500 rupee a month or less than 500 rupee a month, somebody who's a blue-collar worker can now get a medical claim of up to 4 lakh rupees. And when we did survey with people like this and said, this is available for you, would you like to onboard? They were more than happy to participate in the platform. From a distribution standpoint, we would look at B2B, B2C, and C2C model, especially on the B2B model. For domestic help workers, we would look at mobility platform services like MyGate, where the relationship is already there between the apartment owners and the maids and the workers. So that will be a low-hanging fruit for us to look at and build these digital contracts between both of them and make sure we empower them for health insurance itself. So with Max Health, somebody like Kamala can now get access to digital health insurance. She can pay her premiums digitally. She's got access to consent-based health records. And more importantly, she can go to a private hospital rather than looking for a government hospital. And post-treatment, after the discharge, the claims and settlements are also digital. So this is how we believe we can empower the 200 million people who don't have private healthcare today, but with the access to technology and bringing the cost down, I think we can really, really achieve this. Thank you so much.
Sweet. So that was Team Max Health. Congratulations to them as well. So those were the winning entries from the Ideathon as selected by our judges. So congratulations once again to all those teams. Each of them has won 30,000 rupees. Enjoy it. You've earned it. There are several other teams that did a fantastic job in the Ideathon, and one of them which we'd like to give a special mention to is Claimer. As I said, in my point of view, like many of the teams were fantastic, and everyone really deserves a lot of kudos for the work they put in and the sort of creativity they showed. So we'll move on now to the Hackathon winning entries. So there are 3 in this category. Before I kind of talk about those, again, there's a couple of special mentions. So these entries weren't eligible for prizes because they were either submitted after the deadline or they were, they didn't meet the criteria. And the criteria was that they had something to do with the NDHM ecosystem, and that the video that they submitted would be less than 7 minutes, or at the very least 7 minutes, very most 7 minutes 30 seconds. But a special mention goes out to OPD1 and to Soul ID. Guys, check out their projects in the submissions page of DevFolio. I've sent the link in the chat, so all of you can have a look at all 45 projects. So please do check everything out, see what you like, and reach out to the teams. I'm sure they'd love to hear from you. So without any further ado, we'll move on to the 3 winners from the Hackathon. Each team gets 50,000 rupees, and we'll start with the first team. Actually, I think their solution displays a kind of provider side view of the PHR ecosystem, and it's quite a comprehensive solution which showcases different features and elements of not just the NDHM sandbox, but also the kind of ecosystem at large between care providers and patients and stuff like that. The second project talks about consent and different modes of giving consent, and the last project, which is actually the most highly rated project by all the judges, deals with I won't tell you what it deals with, it'll be a surprise. But let's start first with EHR Network. So congratulations to team EHR.network. Here's their video.
A warm hello from Rupa Rao on behalf of Team Healthy Life. We present EHR.network Health Repository Provider. The HRP is a cloud service and provides functionality as depicted in this slide. The HIU and HIP adapters will have clients embedded in them that will bridge external healthcare applications to the NDHM network. A proxy cloud repository will enable offline healthcare systems to have online presence. Ayush EHR is an OP clinic application that can host multiple facilities. HSR Clinic and PTM Clinic are examples of facilities. Through the HRP service, these clinics can now share information with each other as well as with the PHR app and the HIU app. For the demo, we will be using HSR Clinic, where a patient with an existing healthcare ID will visit for healthcare. Health information will be generated. The care context will be linked using the PHR application. A consent request will be generated at the HIU application. It will be approved at the PHR application, and the data now generated at the HSR clinic will be available to the HIU application. For Healthathon 2020, we have done the following. Modified the EHR HIP service to integrate with EHR Network. Java encryption decryption library has been integrated. We have mapped OpenEHR to FHIR using Happy Library. Custom AQLs have been created for extracting data from our OpenEHR repository. Our virtual folders have been mapped to the NDHM care context. We have registered HSR Clinic as a HIP facility. PHR and HIU web clients have been tested with our solution. The HI types prescription and diagnostic lab reports have been tested and will be demonstrated in the demo that follows. Thank you.
Hi, I'll be demonstrating the IndiaHM Sandbox workflow with our EHR application. I've already done a patient registration and generated a health ID using the PHR app. So using the same health ID and password, I've logged into the PHR. Since the patient is newly registered, there are no data available. Now I'll add the data using our EHR application. This is our EHR application. I've already registered a patient with HSR Clinic HIP by adding the demographic details and also added the health ID. For the same patient, I'll be creating a visit. So when I click on create new visit, it asks for the reason. I'll be giving as a fever care. Now visit created. Since the patient is suffering from the fever, I'll be adding the prescription. For adding the prescription, under the prescription I have the medication order. These are all the fields available in the medication order. So now I'll be entering the data. So this data is pulled from the SNOMED CT. Specific description as after food. Now medication order is created. And also patient have done a lab test. So I'll also be entering the lab test result. For that, in the test result, we have the module called lab investigation. These are all the fields available for lab investigation. So now I'll be entering the lab result. When these options are fetched from the SNOMED CT. And unit is million. And adding the conclusion and tested date and the result obtained date. Yes, lab investigation is created. So using our HSR Clinic HIP, added the prescription and the diagnostic lab report, and this data will be stored in the HealthyLife EHR Network HRP, and this can be pulled to PHR, HIU and any other third-party application. Now I'll go back to PHR patient account and try to link and fetch the records from the HSR Clinic HIP. I'll be entering the so I can see the records. I'll try to link. Records are successfully linked, and now records are fetched from the HSR Clinic HIP. Now I'll be demonstrating the HIU. So since the patient is not recovered from the fever, we'll go to some other hospital for further treatment, and that hospital requests a record for the patient. So in that hospital, create a consent request. Now I'll be entering the patient health ID. And purpose of request is care management and requested date from 18th to 20. Type is diagnostic and prescription. I'll be sending a request. Request is sent. Now I'll go back to PHR. So I can see the consent request. sent from the Tata Memorial Hospital. Purpose is care management, and from 18th November to 20th November, they are requesting the data. I'll grant the consent. Now consent is granted successfully. Now I will go to HIU. Now for the patient Swati, consent is granted. Now when I click on the patient, I can see the prescription and the diagnostic record, which is fetched from the Healthy Life EHR Network HRT. So this completes the flow.
Great. That was team, I guess, Healthify Me. The product was called EHR.network. So congratulations to them. So for everybody who's watching this and wondering what the criteria were for judgment, we had 4 criteria. They were originality. How original is the submission? Is there some innovative new idea or feature that's brought to it? Completeness. How complete is it? Is everything actually implemented, or is a lot of stuff mocked up? Are there pieces missing? Have certain important elements not been thought through? Then we had viability. How likely is it that this product can take off and achieve scale in the real world? And lastly, we had X factor, which was completely left up to the judges to decide, depending on whether they like the presentation style, UI, UX, content. The judges had their freedom to give scores in X factor according to their discretion. So total scoring is going to be 20 for each team. And we have I've posted like a link as well, which we've been sharing with the teams from the beginning about the way judging will be done and the way prize distribution will happen. So that link is in the chat, so you can check that out. So as I said, every single team has been scored by multiple judges, and we will give feedback to each and every team about their project. So all of you will receive personalized feedback in the coming days. We'll be posting on the Slack channel, like probably some kind of different link per team or something like that, or maybe we'll send it to you in DM, but we'll figure out exactly how, so stay tuned to Slack for that. So anyways, this was team EHR.network. Congratulations. The second, as you can see, they scored very high in completeness and viability. They implemented so many different features, and they even incorporated SNOMED and various things like that. So certainly a very comprehensive solution, I would say, and something that probably resembles what the various software systems of the future of Indian healthcare will look like. So great job to them. Second up, we have team Sarva Sehmati. They chose to work on an important use case, which was consent and accessibility. So you'll see more about the solution in a second.
Hey everyone, we are Team Hashvita, and here is a presentation for Healthathon. So the critical problems that we're trying to solve using our application are as follows. There's always been a very overwhelming UI and UX for people who are not very tech savvy. There's no support for local languages. There's no support for feature phones. It is always hard to navigate through consent flows for functionally illiterate and elder people. So what is the use of having a PHR system if it is not accessible to everyone? So here we present Sarva Sahamati. Sarva Sahamati is a consent manager for all. It is accessible, interactive, and easy to use for everyone. It has voice-assisted flow and multilingual support. It also has various essential health features included in one app. Finally, for the people who are not having a smartphone, they can directly call a number using their feature phone and interact with the consent manager through an IVR system. In this way, we are covering the entire diverse population of India and bringing them onto the PHR health stack. And for building our application, we have used the MERN stack, which is MongoDB, Express.js, React.js, and Node.js. And for the design part, we have used HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So here we go on with the demo of the application. Let's begin with the demo of the version of the app for the people who are very comfortable with smartphones, for the people like us. So we'll start by logging in the person using the health ID and the password. So now the person has to select the language he's comfortable with. For the purpose of the demo, we'll select English. Let's start by linking in the person, linking the records of the person. So link your records. Now we'll search for the hospital. Let's go with Live Health. So Live Health bidirectional. So these are the all details that are sent to the provider for linking the records. So now the person can select the records he wants by checking in simply. Now let's get the data. Now he has to enter the OTP received on his phone number. So I'll enter it. Let's confirm the OTP, and the records have been linked successfully. So now you can view the records using My Records. So previously you linked the Medanta records. We can also see that, and live health bidirectional records have been linked now. So now let's start by making a consent request using Postman. So Dr. Rahul Sharma from Fortis Hospital is making a consent request to Varmayash@SBX. So let's make a consent request. Yeah, successfully sent. Let's make another request by Medanta Hospital, Dr. Anuj Maheshwari. These all are mock-up data for the names of the hospital and the name of the doctor. So now we'll go to the consents, and we can see 2 new consent requests have been made. So we'll go to the Fortis Hospital request, and we can add the details if you want. Now let's accept the request. We have to enter the consent pin. I'm entering it, and let's confirm the pin. Consent accepted. So if we go to the consents, only one consent is active, and we can see that it has been accepted. Other than the consents and the records, the person can also use various health services. Like he can see the nearest hospitals, and he can also go to online consultation apps like Practo. Directly clicking the link, it will go to the app directly, and the person can also view some. He can also order some medicines online using e-pharmacies like 1mg. So this version of our application aims at people who are not very comfortable with smartphones, the people who are new to smartphones, and the elderly people who do not find it comfortable to use mobile apps in their day-to-day lives. So let's begin by logging in the person. So as you can see, the person can now select the language he wants. Let's start with Hindi. So as you can see, for the purpose of this application, we have used very bigger font size. We have used larger divisions, larger buttons, and there's an audio and a visual cue for every step. So let's start by hearing this audio.
अपने record link करें.
So now the person can easily hear what he has to do, or he can simply read also. So this step enables him to link the records, but we have already linked the records. So let's start with the consents now.
अपनी सहमति देखें.
So now the person can go to the consents. Now,
नए अनुरोध या सक्रिय सहमति देखें.
so now you can view the new or the active records after consents. So let's go to the new requests. So we made a Medanta hospital request initially using Postman. So now the person can accept this request. And there's an audio cue at every step.
आप अनुरोध को अनुदान या अस्वीकार कर सकते हैं.
So now the person can simply accept.
अपनी सहमति पिन दर्ज करें.
And now the audio says he has to enter the consent pin. Entering that. And now it's confirmed. As you saw how simple it was to accept a consent request right now. And any person who is new to smartphones can also comfortably accept the request or reject the request accordingly. Also, we use very contrasting colors so that people who have visual problems also can distinguish between the buttons and the different sections of the app. So this is the third version of our application. This is the IVR system we have built. And this is for the people who don't own a smartphone right now. They can simply use their feature phones or the basic phones they have to directly call the NDHM toll-free number and interact with the consent manager. So let's start with the demo. We'll first call the toll-free number.
अंग्रेजी के लिए 1 दबाएं, हिंदी के लिए 2 दबाएं.
Let's select Hindi.
आपके 2 नए सहमति अनुरोध हैं. पहला अनुरोध देखने के लिए 1 दबाएं, दूसरा अनुरोध देखने के लिए 2 दबाएं. वापस जाने के लिए 3 दबाएं.
Let's view the first consent request.
मेदांता अस्पताल गुड़गांव के डॉक्टर शर्मा ने 21 नवंबर से 25 नवंबर तक आपके स्वास्थ्य रिकॉर्ड के लिए सहमति का अनुरोध किया है. स्वीकार करने के लिए 1 दबाएं, अस्वीकार करने के लिए 2 दबाएं. वापस जाने के लिए 3 दबाएं.
So let's accept the request.
सहमति सफलतापूर्वक दी गई.
So now the call will end. So as you can see, it was very simple, like only just pressing the dial pad number, you can now manage your consent requests. So by building 3 different versions of our application, we have tried to include every kind of person in India to easily manage their consent requests and comfortably follow the steps. And by building these applications, we avoided any issues faced by them previously. To cover every aspect of consent management, we have thought of another use case, which is the case of emergencies, and I've also made a mock-up for it. So in case of an emergency, if the person is not in a situation of accepting the consent request for the data, the doctor can use the security pin with the provider, which is the override pin, to get access to the reports urgently. And in such a case, the emergency contact of the patient will be notified about the access, and he or she can either acknowledge it or reject it if he thinks that it is in a wrongful way. So in this way, we are trying to solve the problem of consent management during the emergency situation. Thank you.
Brilliant. So that was Team Server Sehmati. I guess Team Hashvita, the product was Server Sehmati. So great job to them. As you can see, this is a very interesting idea. This is the only team that worked on this idea, and certainly it's a very important concept for people to work on, to innovate on top of, because we don't want this new tech that we build to just be accessible to, let's say, the top 100 million urban English-speaking Indians. We want it to reach everybody. So efforts like this are really important in making sure that we can reach the whole population, and design for various edge cases like delegated consent in case of emergencies. Now, as we said, the different projects kind of scored differently in various categories. So I would imagine this one did very well in innovation and X Factor, and rightfully so. So great job to Team Hashvita, and we'll now move on to the last winner from the hackathon. The teams, a lot of people in the chat are asking who has won the hackathon so far, so I'll just repeat everything. The judges had clear consensus on the following winners from the two competitions. In the Ideathon, it was Team Phoenix, Team Max Health, Team Bima Pay, and Team Sanjivani. And in the hackathon, so far we've announced Team Hashvita and Team EHR Network. So now we have the last winner from the Ideathon. There was extremely clear consensus on this one from the judges. All the judges gave this the highest score out of all the projects in the entire competition, and I think you'll see why. So here we have the submission from Team Shovel. Their product is called Claim Genie. So congratulations, Team Shovel. Here's the project.
Hi everyone, I'm Devashish, and today I'll be demoing you the product Claim Genie, which is our AI-assisted claims adjudication solution. This is the team behind Claim Genie. We are called Team Shovel. So the problem that we are trying to solve is a twofold problem. On the patient side, whenever a patient is admitted to a hospital, it is a very stressful time for the patient as well as their family. But a significant amount of that time is spent in filing for paperwork to avail insurance. And there is a lack of transparency around the claim life cycle itself, which needs some solving. On the insurer side, the claim processing is expensive. It is currently 10 to 12% of the total operating expense. And the turnaround time of claim processing is fragmented across the industry and is not standardized at all. So how Claim Genie works? So Claim Genie works on top of these four entities. First is the personal health record, which is powered by NDHM, which provides us the patient data. Then there is eClaims, which is electronic claims. How we have modeled is through FHIR and IRDAI 15C document. Then there is a policy markup language, which is how we have modeled the policy. And then there is a rules engine, which is a final component, which takes in all these three entities, runs rules on top of them, and adjudicates the claim. So this is the flow that I'll be demoing today. A provider will send an e-claim through an API call to the software. Once the claim is received by a software, the pre-auth check will happen, which will be done by a claims executive. Once the pre-auth is approved, the provider will send the discharge summary of the patient. The discharge summary will be then fetched through EHR, and the panel doctors and the claim executive will then do a technical assessment and a medical assessment. And once these steps pass, our claim will be approved. So let's get right to the demo. This is our software. I'll make an API call right now. This is how we have modeled claim. Once I make this API call, I will also grant for patient consent to fetch their diagnostic reports, and we'll send a WhatsApp notification as well. This is to make the whole process a bit more transparent. So I make an API call. Once I make the API call, you can see that I've received a WhatsApp notification, which basically tells me to grant consent. So I'll go to the NDHM app. I'll reload my screen. I can see that there is a consent request. Currently, our payer is National Insurance, and the purpose of the request is claim processing, and the scope is diagnostic report. I'll grant the consent, enter the PIN, confirm, and the consent is granted. I'll reload my app. So as you can see, we have received the claim. The PHR consent is granted. I'll just quickly walk you through some of the details. So you can see there is payer information. There is provider information, admission detail around the patient's admission, pre-existing diseases of the patient, and member information. Member information is just some basic metadata around the patient. This is our policy, which is pretty comprehensive. As you can see, there is coverage, there is exclusion, waiting period, and payout. Go back and I'll quickly show you the policy template. This is our policy template, which is how we run our rule engine and how we model our policy, right? So now the claim is in the pre-auth stage. As you can see, our engine has run. It has ran a bunch of checks, like whether the name is correct or not, whether the policy is active or not, right? Diagnosis is included in the claim or not, and a bunch of other checks. All these checks pass. So I'll just quickly approve the pre-auth stage. Pre-auth is approved. And now I expect the provider to send me an updated claim and discharge summary. You can also see I have received another WhatsApp notification, which tells me as a patient that the pre-authorization step for my claim is done. Now I'll update the claim. And at this time, we expect the provider to send us the discharge summary. To get the discharge summary, I have again requested the patient to give us the documents by granting consent. So I'll reload my NDHM app. Now the scope has increased to diagnostic report as well as discharge summary. I'll grant consent, enter the PIN, confirm, and the consent is granted. I'll quickly refresh. And now the claim is moved to technical assessment, right? Also, let me show you that once the PHR step is granted, we have now the patient data. So this is the diagnostic report of the patient, and here is the discharge summary of the patient. Go back. This is the technical assessment. Again, we have the engine running for technical assessment, checking for room rent, sum insured, pre-existing conditions. It has passed. So I'll just quickly approve the technical assessment step. Approved. Now we have moved on to medical assessment. Again, we have some engine checks here and some manual check for the panel doctors, like whether the hospitalization was needed for the treatment, whether the treatment was genuine or not, and stuff like that. Once I mark all these checks, this turns green. I can now approve the medical assessment. So I can go ahead and do that. The medical assessment is approved. I click OK. And now my claim is approved. Once my claim is approved, I get a WhatsApp notification saying that my claim is approved from this hospital for this much amount. And that wraps up our video. Thank you very much.
Super. So congratulations, Team Shovel. That was amazing. So as you guys can see, we've seen some incredible solutions for patients, policyholders, insurers, doctors, hospitals, and other stakeholders in the medical ecosystem. There were some interesting developer tools. Soul ID was one. We encourage you to check it out. Unfortunately, it didn't make it because of the submission criteria. It submitted, unfortunately, beyond the deadline, but a very interesting developer tool. I mentioned a few other names. There are some great projects, guys. Do check them out in the submissions. And I think you like what you see. So once again, thank you to all the teams who participated, to every single partner that we had, Matrix Partners India, Swasth Alliance, Live Health, DevFolio, Finarkin, NDHM, AirMeet, HIMS, Chime. Everybody sort of really pulled together to make this happen. We hope that you guys actually learned a lot, because that was the main objective of this. It was just learning about this new ecosystem, engaging with it, taking from it and giving back also. So if you guys have suggestions on ways this ecosystem can be improved, please do reach out. We're always open to feedback and collaboration. The Slack channel will continue being active because we're still going to share the feedback with you. So do chat with us there, drop us a line, and follow the iSpirit handle on Twitter for any future updates about different competitions we might have. And I guess that's it, guys. So it's been 5 weeks, but everybody's done an incredible job. Thank you to everybody who took part in this or is watching this. We really appreciate it, and we can't wait to see what people build once this thing goes live. So very hearty thank you and congratulations to all teams and participants. That's it from here. Take care, guys. See you at the next event, hopefully. Bye bye, everyone.